Welcome back to the Frith Guild podcast. We begin the last 6 chapters of Warlord Arcanist, and following this, next week's episode is a sit-down with Casey Azell, author of the Shadowcard Guardian. If you're interested in helping indie authors, consider joining the ARC Discord channel linked down below. Volk, determined to reclaim his sword, orders Zelfrey to take him to Callisto. Volk realizes that he must bear the burden of his choices to come as Warlord. The Soul Forge arrives, setting the stage for the battle, and with Eviana's aid, Volk makes a bold strategic move. And so it begins. Queen Ladislava's forces clash at the gate. Amidst the chaos, a siren song beckons newborn creatures. Volk confronts Thiessen using all his powers, and with a masterful move, Volk takes the upper hand. In the heart of the conflict, Ladislava emerges victorious. As celebrations ensue, Volk contemplates the trials they've endured. Join us as we go through the deep dive of chapters 46 through 51 of Warlord Arcanist. Welcome back to the Frith Guild podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm co-host Scott.
And today we're going over chapters 46 through 51 of Warlord Arcanist. And these are the last 6 chapters of the book.
Bonus chapter.
Exactly. Heck yeah. And with that, we also want to thank everybody for listening. If you could, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff for us. Really do appreciate it if you could. Also, want to remind everybody that the Frith Chronicles Wiki link is in the description down below. If you see anything in there that you would may need to be updated, please reach out and get them updated. I know several other people that are working on updating it as well, but more hands he always makes things easier. Along with that, we have the Capital Station Discord server and the new ARC Dragons book readers. These are indie authors that are looking to get ARC reviewers or advanced reader copy reviewers. You read the books ahead of time before they release. That way you can have your review ready to go. And once the book releases, you can put your review down on their page to help get people over and look at their books. Again, these are indie authors, so this is not a Tower Red or whatever the Onyx Storm or the Fourth Wing series is published through. So these are indie authors just like Shammy is, self-publishing, so they would definitely appreciate any kind of help and support they can get. They're definitely looking for readers. They have every genre known to person, like, that you could even want to think of. And some that I didn't even honestly think existed, like Smat Punk or something like that. So
sounds like a band.
Yes, yeah. But I guess it's a genre, but so I'm not gonna knock on it at all. So with that, though, we are going to get into chapter 46 of the Soul Forge appears. So we get back into where we left off with Callisto stealing Volk's retribution, and he turns on Zelfrey, and this is one of the very rare occasions where you see Volk lash out in anger. He turns to Zelfrey and demands, and I would say better to call it an actual order, that Zelfrey takes him to Callisto to get his sword back. Zelfrey accepts that, and it's one of those weird moments of seeing Zelfrey bend the knee, but he does it for a reason. He does tell Volk that he is not an apprentice anymore, and that Zelfrey can't tell him what to do, but he's basically trying to make sure that Volk understands that whatever his decisions are is his decisions to make now. So anything he does is on him. They teleport, and as soon as they basically get back to camp, because they weren't able to get the sword back, Zelfrey teleports away just to get away from Volk for a little bit. He does apologize for his outburst, and then all of a sudden, the Soul Forge arrives, and it's on the complete opposite side of the throne hold from them, because, they did their reconnaissance. They know exactly where people are. And honest to God, Volk is making some very wise decisions in the far as strategy goes.
He learned from someone.
Maybe him and Luvi had more of a conversation than just, hey, like, you got to be careful what you pick here and who you kill. He asked Odeon to fly him up above the city so he can get a clear bird's eye view of the city, because he does suspect that there's some barricades or something else like that thrown up in the streets. And he wants to know about that before they try to go into the city. Before he goes up, because we're right at dusk, because, again, I love her way that she storytells and that she makes everything happen right around dusk, nighttime, to give it that extra heightened sense of, like, craziness. Eviana comes over and gives him night vision, and she does it all cute and gives him a kiss on the give him a kiss. And he gets up on Odeon's dragon, and they fly around. They do find that there are barricades that were set up, and they were basically used to funnel in Ladislava's forces. Again, strong, amazing strategic decision to go up there and check this out, because immediately knows that they can't just bum rush this place and that they're going to get funneled into a place where they're going to get murdered without hesitation because of numbers don't matter. Now we also see where the Soul Forge is. We knew it was on the south end, and the way that it's described just reminds me of Jabba the Hutt.
It's gross. Like, it's not a pretty boy.
No, not at all. Definitely not winning any kind of beauty contest at all. As Volk's flying around trying to get a bearing of everything else that's going on, it starts to send out these threads of magic from the individual fingers of each arm that's sticking out of Jabba the Hutt, also known as the Soul Forge.
So Thiessen went from a trash dragon to Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's got a thing. He got a type.
Ugly.
So these threads are basically going to humans, mortals, and I believe they're going after Arcanists too. They don't segregate between the mortals or the Arcanists. And they're basically stealing the souls from them. They're putting the souls back into all of these dead animal mystical creature parts and causing them to basically reanimate. And is this something where's the line of necromancy to, like, would this be straight up necromancy?
I don't know, because it's not reanimating the corpse. It's like bringing it back to life with someone else's soul. Like, it feels like it's different than necromancy, but I don't know what it would be called.
Where's the line at? But I guess, like you said, it's giving them a soul, so they're just not mindless. But what do you guys think? Where do you think that the line is for this necromancy here? Let me know. Let us know in the comments, or shoot us a message on Facebook here to let us know. So the war begins, and Queen Ladislava charges through the gates with her dragon, and it's just annihilates the wall.
Brings us to chapter 47, the enemy siren song. So Terrakanna, knowing that they're going to get funneled into a death trap, blocks the troops from actually entering the city. The queen is not happy about this. We get this brawl going on between Terrakanna and her dragon, which feels really dangerous for everybody around. Feels like somebody's going to get squashed there. Volk is trying to get Adelgis to warn everyone at what's happening, just so that they know, hey, you're going to run into a bunch of really deadly magical creatures. You are going to get thrown into a death trap. So he's trying to use Adelgis to gather the troops. Not super effective, though. We then start to get the Frith Guild regrouping to head for Thiessen. So this is the SEAL Team 6 going after Thiessen right now. They are met by the Sky Legionnaires, and they also do start to hear a siren song in the distance where all the newborn creatures start to funnel themselves towards this siren song. So Volk is left with this decision of, do I go after the creatures? Do I go after Thiessen? Ends up deciding that Thiessen's the bigger threat, and that's where he's going to head.
Again, we see that strategy, having to make these decisions. He's going to have to live with whatever decision he makes. Leaving into chapter 48, A Clash of Gods and Men. Volk gets to the Soul Forge at the southern wall, and Thiessen is there with Callisto, Spider, Meatbag, a random guy named Wit, and then a Javan warrior with a Dreadform Twilight Dragon. Because we're going to have all of it, okay? Cannot be easy. This is the final boss of the stage.
Yes,
okay?
This is phase 1.
As Volk and Odeon land with everybody else in tow, we've got Zaxxas, Ilya, Zelfrey, him, Odeon. So we've got quite a few. It's pretty evenly matched here, I'd say. Thiessen starts monologuing about how great he is.
You caught me mono. You sly dog.
And so he's explaining that he's trying to use the Soul Forge's magic to reanimate, and then he starts to use the Soul Forge magic on Volk, and it starts to steal Volk's soul. So yes, that earlier question is, it does actually affect Arcanus as well. Terrakanna goes to bite the Soul Forge and kind of gets absorbed into the Soul Forge, kind of like it's an Eddie Murphy movie with the Jello.
As it just reminds me of just Jello in general.
Yeah, like Jabba the Hutt it's gonna bug me so much. I'm gonna put somewhere in here the picture of the Jello like creature thing that it is.
Find a Jello picture with Eddie Murphy.
I will look it up and I'll put it in here to show everyone the Nutty Professor. Maybe I was completely off on the actor.
I could think of was Flubber.
Anywho, sidetrack. Thankfully, Volk gets a good solid hit in on Reese, and he doesn't kill him because he doesn't have retribution. He has just an ordinary trinket sword, not his retribution. And Volk ends up getting stabbed with his own blade by Callisto. And everything's just going wild. Like, everybody's fighting everybody. Zelfrey is mimicking a Manicore, so he's got the increased speed to fight Callisto off. We've got Volk and Eviana taking on Spider, Wit, the Kappa, and the Sea Serpent. Thankfully, Volk takes out the Wit, or out Wit, and he leaves the Kappa to Eviana as she goes after Thesan. And then Thesan starts monologuing again because the first time wasn't enough. Volk cuts him pretty good with the sword, and Thesan releases the decay dust, breaking the sword, and Callisto loses all of his trinkets. Like, literally everything.
So pissed.
He yells at Thesan, like, I told you to be careful with that crap. Like, I can only imagine the amount of trinkets, or amount of star shards he's got on him and trinkets there. He's got his shadow stepping boots. He's got his unicorn horn. Like, that's all a few of the things we know about. Thesan hits Volk with the soul stealing magic again. And he kind of comes back with the upper hand with things. And as this is happening, Zaxxas gets infected with the plague again.
That's what happens when you fight with your fist. There's literally, like, you're going to get blood on you.
Right. Well, he gets bit by the dragon too. Like, he also like bashes the dragon's skull in, so that was pretty cool. And Volk ends up using his vegetation to knock Thesan off balance. And Thesan is just erupting crystals all over the place. Like, again, pure freaking chaos. Volk is finally able to use his magma to burn Thesan's legs. And he's finally able to kill Thesan with his magma. And just as Volk's about to turn on the Soul Forge, guess who shows back up? Getting Reese.
Every time. Only there's no meat bag. It's just Reese.
Reese comes in, teleports the dying Soul Forge away, and Callisto has this like, damn it, I'm stuck behind again.
He really did get left behind. No love for him.
Nope.
Does bring us to chapter 49, Revenge. So Zaxxas, Forsyth, Odion, his dragon, everyone's covered in plague blood. Not a good thing. Odion ends up killing the dragon. Zaxxas kills the Arcanist. Spider offers herself up to save her Eldrin, which is actually really honorable thing for a bloodthirsty pirate, but teach their own. Traces does end up having a wing cut off, and when reverting back to Kitten, that ends up being her tail, so loses her tail as well. Hellion is able to kind of paralyze everyone in place. Luckily, Zelfrey transforms into a nightmare based on Eviana, is able to shadow step underneath Hellion and kill him. Callisto then surrenders, especially not having any magic, not having his increased vitality or anything. Ilia is going to go kill him and ends up being shot before she can complete it. We do find out that Marcus was come to save Callisto's life with a rifle. Ilia then teleports off to kill him instead of Callisto.
She went to straight merc mode.
She did. She was trying to do some damage.
Chapter 50, Ruler of the Argo Empire. Zaxxas ends up taking retribution from Ilia and returns it back to Volk. Ilia had stood there for a few moments contemplating whether she's going to end Callisto or not. I could certainly understand the hesitation with her, especially with her character, even though she's been so adamant about revenge, but this is definitely a testament to her character growth of when she gets there, she can't do it. She just couldn't burden herself with that. She takes Callisto away with her as she teleports out, and we gotta get back to the fight that's going on in Thronehold now, because, as we're fighting the Soul Forge, Vladislava is fighting for her kingdom. Her and Cardoza are actually fighting to the death for the throne at King Drake Castle. She's got her dragon with her. He does not. At this point, I don't know if it would have been worth keeping his dragon away, but I don't know if he expected to get to this point.
I don't think he expected to lose Thesan.
Yeah. And probably for them to get all the way there, because the Volk essentially protects everybody now from that effect. So, because this is not there. And we get another image here of Addie in battle, because we don't see her in battle very often, but she just goes straight torches all of the archers on the way. And we're trying to minimize the damage to Thronehold, because whoever wins this battle is gonna have to repair it. So she's controlling her magic to not only torch them, but then make sure that like the flames keep moving and doesn't catch on anything else. As we're in the middle of this just straight melee brawl in the middle of the streets of Thronehold, like everything goes dark again. There's a beam of light that shoots up halfway across the world is what it says, and we know that there's another god creature that's been bonded. And we do know that it wasn't the Fenris Wolf, because one, we know that it's in the Argo Empire, and that we have the runestone for it. So thankfully, we don't have to worry about the Fenris Wolf. Not so much about everything else, but as Volk makes it to King Drake Castle, Queen Ladislava ends up killing Cardoza, becoming the uncontested heavyweight champion of the world.
Or at least Thronehold.
I mean, Thronehold holds a lot. The Argo Empire holds a lot of weight, though, so
It does.
kind of is.
It's like when you win something in America and you call it World Championship. That brings us to chapter 51, A Missing Friend. So there is a celebration going on, but Volk doesn't have the energy to attend it. I do not blame him. He has been through a lot. Adelgis is upset about his father, essentially feeling like he's responsible, that he should have been able to better plan for him. The queen is going on and saying that any of the creatures that were born in the Argo Empire are hers, because she's the ruler of the Argo Empire, and therefore she gets to determine who bonds with them. At first, everyone's like, this is kind of cool because of all like the new creatures that Thesan brought to life, and then someone's like, whoa, 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 the Fenris Wolf is born in the Argo Empire. We do not want to give the wolf to the queen. So a little sly strategy there of her trying to wiggle her way into having a god creature on her side. Adelgis is able to confirm that the Fenris Wolf, the Garuda Bird, and the Abyssal Kraken are all awake. So coming up to see what's going to happen with those, but we know they are awaiting their trial worth to be completed. Volk ends up finding Arthur and talks to him, and Arthur gives the Griffin Club responses of like, I know my trial worth was completed. I don't know who it was. He seems to know that his arcanist was a girl, but does not have memory. So this weird amnesia going on. And Volk realizes that with Luther's cape having been in the carriage, Luther is now, one, living, but two, alive and somewhere that we don't know, and who does not, in all reality, probably remember who Volk is. So there's nothing saying that Volk couldn't find Luther and then he'd be bonded to someone else at that point anyway. We also found out, in possibly the worst news, that Bethica, who's the one who could actually cure the plague, was left during the fight, was likely kidnapped. So the best chance at curing Zaxxas and at curing Odion is now somewhere that we do not know and probably are not going to have enough time to find out. So a lot of mixed emotions coming to the end, a lot of strategizing for Volk to figure out how he's going to handle all these situations.
Luther's cape was one of those moments where I was just like, wait, what does this mean? Like, oh God, I was not okay when I read that.
It takes a minute to like process, be like, boy,
yeah,
he's alive. But then you're also sitting there, like I was thinking, I was like,
but where is he?
Where is he? And like, he couldn't bond with him if he's bonded with Turkana. So there's a lot of questions. Like
shit, we were literally just getting over the fact that Luther passed.
Yes, to find out he's back alive somewhere, and we got to go figure out how that's supposed to work.
And this ends Warlord Arcanist. And that means we only have 2 books left in the Frith Chronicles. So next up will be Master Arcanist. Before we move on, though, we are going to go over the bestiary this week. We're going to go over the Siren and the Soul Forge. So with the Siren, it is a tier 3 creature. We don't really know what the trial worth is for it, though. We also know that it is a half bird, half human sea creature that is known for leading sailors astray to their deaths. Kind of surprised that, at least as far as I'm aware, they aren't considered man-eaters, so they aren't immune to the plague.
Yeah, maybe they just kill people. They don't need them. They just kill them.
We do know that their evocation is mind controlling songs. I'm going to guess their manipulation would probably be the water. And their augmentation is probably going to have something to do with the mind control. They were actually fairly instrumental with rounding up the Sky Legionnaires at Thronehold during this fight, because they were basically luring them all in so they didn't have to worry about the attack from the air. As far as pretty much anything else goes, imbuing aura and innate abilities, true form, don't have any solid concrete information. Again, I would guess to say innate ability would probably be immune to any kind of mind control magic, and then your usual breathing underwater, that kind of thing. The real world lore, I believe, was from Greek mythology for these ones in particular, because we don't want to confuse ourselves with the half fish, half woman versus these ones, where these ones are the half bird, half human. And we know that they aren't man-eaters because there was an owl siren picking at Gentle, and I think the first book.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, so they are not, in fact, immune to the plague, so they're definitely not man-eaters. With that, again, we don't really have too much more information on them, unfortunately. Maybe we'll be seeing these coming up in the next bestiary that she's putting out, so keep your fingers crossed there.
The other one we're going to cover is the Soul Forge. So it is a giant slug. Really cool colors. It's like blue, tan, pink, semi-transparent. There's arms sticking out of it all everywhere, but at the end of the day, it's a giant slug. Their trial of worth, you have to first locate the rose quartz runestone. After that, when you enter the lair, there's a series of tasks which involve sacrificing the lives of others, chopping off one's own arm, which explains why Thiessen was missing one of his arms. They bond with somebody who they feel is highly intelligent and who believes that the ends justifies the means, which fits Thiessen perfectly. They are tier 5 and fable birth, similar to the other god creatures during a turning of the Age of Magic. They are able to evoke crystals as their creation. They can be any color, but are usually pink. They're very sharp, poke out of the body, very unsuspecting. And then on the destruction end of their evocations, the life thread. So we saw Thiessen using this as well, but little life-stealing threads that literally steal life from the people who are caught in them and take that back to the Soul Forge, who's then able to store those. Their creation manipulation is life force, so they can birth, rebirth, general health, any of that they're able to manipulate. On the destructive force side, it is the death force. So same thing, but on the other side, death, illness, aging, depression, all of those able to impact. Their augmentation for creation, they can augment nearby humans to create nodes of magic. So pregnant humans would give birth to rare mystical creatures along with their own children, which is one of the weirdest augmentations I think we've seen. The destructive side is death, so similarly, they create nodes of magic that result in those dying and their souls creating rare, nightmarish, mystical creatures with a fierce bloodlust. So either way, kind of embodying life and death. Their trinkets are extremely powerful, specifically their little eye stalks and their arms being able to hold very potent magic. Their creation aura, so the Salvation Army, that's probably not it. For their auras, they do have creation and destruction, so Salvation Army and Armageddon, so we'll see these kind of later on coming into effect with the Arcane Plague. For innate abilities, they are immune to magical drain, soul manipulation, any sort of mind control or magical corruption. They don't need to breathe and are able to sense magic no matter how faint or hidden. Their true form is Gaius-based, so they must kill at least one other god creature, and then all the other god creatures must somehow die, and the Soul Forge is the last remaining god arcanist left. And when this happens, they do the hands and arms in their body grow into broader humanoid appendages, so pretty much like a chest or 2 arms and a head. It also doubles in size and develops more eye stalks. And it does gain Forging a Stronger Soul, which allows it to take the God Arcanist soul into its body and forge it anew. So when the Soul Forge gives it back, the God Arcanist can then bond with 2 other creatures without suffering harm to themselves. They're also able to handle any amount of raw magical power. This includes anything from abyssal hells, things reserved for death lords, or otherwise things in the fifth abyss. They are based on a forge, which is the creator of life and magic, so taking souls into metal ore in a furnace with its slug-like body, and then using that to craft new things. The first individual to bomb a soul forge was known as the Scholar, which is the title that Thiessen then takes on. The real-world inspiration, they are based on the Arabic myths of Kyan, the god of smiths, and the Rupepo, a Japanese yokai that resembles a slug and absorbs things into its body. So kind of a mixture of two different creatures coming to there. And that brings us the Soul Forge.
Definitely glad that we didn't have to fight this one later on.
Yes. Glad it is dead.
Lord, that's...
It's yucky.
All right, and with that, we will take a break from our books. Next week, we'll be sitting down with Casey Ezell. She is the author of the Shadow Card Guardian. She is working on in the same universe as John Stovall's Demon Card Enforcer, just a separate storyline in that series or in that world. We're definitely excited to talk with her next week, kind of learn about how the co-writing, her creative processes, and that sort of thing as well. We'll also be linking in her Discord channel once we get to that. So with that, Scott, do you have anything else to add today?
No, excited for we're progressing through the series very quickly here. So excited to pick up again.
So start Master Arcanus here after that.
Yes, a couple more books left.
All right, with that, we'll catch you guys next week.